Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you who joined us today for the session. I'm Sonal, and I'm part of team admissions here at Azim Premji University. We had few sessions last week. The first one, which was exclusively for the admissions process, and then we had one more session for the BA program. Today's session, what we have is exclusively for the BSc and BSc-BEd program offered at Azim Premji University. So um, I'll take this opportunity to briefly tell you how the session looks like today. We have faculty members who will be presenting for the BSc program, followed by the BSc-BEd program. Our faculty members are academicians, researchers, and field practitioners. So while they are presenting, it's important for you to listen to them carefully, note down all the questions you may have. You can put in the questions in the chat box. We will have an question and answer session at the end, wherein we will get all your queries answered, which are related to the program, right? So I would now share the PPT, which we will be using for the presentation today. My screen is visible. So, yeah. So now I would like to invite Professor Shumain Mukherjee to talk about our BSc Biology program. Over to you, Shumain.
Hello, good afternoon and evening to everyone. My name is Shoman Mukherjee. I'm an ecologist, but I'm here on behalf of my colleagues who are a mixture of different biology faculties from various fields. And as you know, biology is very relevant in today's time, especially if you think about the current pandemic which we are going through, and it's a very interdisciplinary field of study which has components not only for, and the way we teach it is also, it has components not only from biology but also has components of mathematics and physics also. So in this curriculum, what I'll be talking about, what the course structure is. So what we have is each student will take a set of core courses, and these are core courses, means all biology students and have to take these courses, and then they have to they have the option of taking these elective courses which are much more specialized, and depending on the kind of interest which the student has, whether they are in ecology or molecular biology or genetics. So these are the different kind of elective courses, and I'll talk through these courses in a while. And then we have almost 50% of the course is what is known as the common curriculum, and my colleagues later will also talk about this common curriculum. So these are a wide set of courses which are taken by all science as well as arts students, and then finally the biology students in their third year, in their second year, they can also opt for an honors program. So honors pathway is where they basically do a little bit of research so that they have more hands-on practice of how to design a study and to conduct that study over a 1-year period. So let me just give you a bit more detail about what the core courses and the elective courses are. And one thing I would like to emphasize is that the way each of these courses are, so we don't teach it in the very traditional zoology, botany, these kind of very distinct classification of biology, but this is a much more integrative manner in which we teach both zoology, botany, and microbiology, genetics, everything together. Okay, so next slide, please. So as I was talking about, these core courses are taken right throughout all the 3 years. And in the first year, they take courses. There are two courses called Introduction to Biology 1 and 2. And these cover very basics of molecular biology, genetics, physiology, and some introduction to ecology and environment. By second year, they also take courses in molecular biology and biochemistry and genetics. So these are again um, 4 credit courses because they involve a lot of labs, and there's a lot of hands-on experimentation which the students conduct in these labs. And then in the second year, they also take courses such as evolutionary biology. And this is again, I think, very unique, which many of the other universities, biology students don't really get exposed to. And this evolutionary kind of thinking is also very important, whether you look at biology in a very applied sense or in a more theoretical sense. So we've been hearing a lot about mutations and how the whole virus of COVID has kind of evolved over time. So those kind of problems, a lot of the evolutionary biology thinking kind of helps in that. And then in the final year, they also take courses such as understanding plants. This is again not just plant ecology per se, but trying to understand how plants are a very important part of the whole system that we belong to, all the among the living beings. And then there are much more some more specific courses such as lab and field techniques. So these are again specializing on a lot of the techniques which are very unique to biology, and these are both working in the lab as well as a lot of the field work. So this involves a lot of field ecology and or even mapping different kind of landscapes, etc. Okay. So next slide, please. So as I was talking about, we also have these very special, so students have the option from the second year itself to kind of choose electives. These are if they're interested in certain specific fields of biology which they want to pursue later. And so these can be courses in introductions to psychology. So we don't have a BA degree in psychology, but these are again taught by psychologists who are also uh, who also practice the field of psychology as professionals too. Then there are other more ecology related fields such as animal behavior, introduction to ecology, disease ecology. So these are much more ecology and ecosystem level, courses which talk a lot about the interaction of organisms with their environment, with the whole ecosystem. And then there are some other electives such as introduction to biophysics and defense mechanism and immunity. So again, at the molecular level that these courses kind of talk about. Next slide. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So just to kind of add to what I was talking about. So let me give a bit more detail about what students do as part of the honors program. So by second year, based on the grades of the students, and if the student decides to do a honors research, in the second year, students essentially write up a proposal, and among those proposals, they decide they select which particular faculty they want to, and over a 1 year period, the students essentially design and conduct a research which they write up as a thesis, and these and a thesis by the end of the third year. So and for this honors degree, they also have to take some extra set of courses as apart from doing spending extra time doing research in this system. And these honors projects have ranged over the years, from looking at algal movement, your slime mold systems, to studying frogs and spiders, and also plants. So this is a very hands-on. But even students who are not doing an honors study, they also get an opportunity to design and study research even otherwise. But the honors program also ensures that they have a very dedicated set of time to actually conduct and do some of these research. Yeah. So that's it for now.
Thank you, Shumain. Thanks for also putting some light on the honors research project that we have. Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Tulsi Srinivasan to talk about our BSc Mathematics program.
Can
Yeah,
everyone hear me?
we can hear you, Tulsi.
All
Yes.
right. Yeah. Thanks, Sonal, and hi, everyone. So my name is Tulsi. I teach in the mathematics program here. So I'm just going to maybe start with a quick introduction to what we aim to do in our maths program. So this program is just a couple of years old. We haven't actually graduated any students, and students have the option of either a BSc in maths or a BSc and B.Ed in maths. The latter is something that my colleague Kennedy will talk about later. So we have two main aims when we designed the program. The first is that we wanted the program in such a way that students with different interests and backgrounds can come in and succeed in the program. So it's not necessary that you did well in school mathematics to be able to do well here. And the second is that we want students to, once they get a good solid foundation in mathematics, to be able to do a variety of things with that degree, not just a master's in maths or something very closely related with mathematics, but to be able to apply it in a variety of fields. So the program has been designed with this in mind. So our first year courses are not very content heavy, and we use a kind of pedagogy called inquiry based learning. So in the first year, we have just 4 courses. So I'll come to the list of courses in a second. Maybe we can, Sonal, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so in the first year, students take Introduction to Mathematical Thinking 1 and 2, as well as Calculus 1. All of these are taught through inquiry-based learning, which means that we don't have lectures. We have some problem sets and exploratory questions, and students work either individually or in groups on them and then present what they have found to one another. And the idea is that we kind of create a level playing field where no matter what your previous background is in mathematics, you are introduced to mathematics as something which is creative and exploratory and not algorithmic. So you are forced to think, you are forced to share your reasoning, you are forced to critique other people's reasoning, and you get a sense of what it's like to do mathematics in the first year. The second year courses are more standard. They are taught through lectures and tutorials. There are 2 more courses in calculus, linear algebra, probability, and algebra. These courses form a basis for all of mathematics. So it doesn't matter what you want to do after this with your maths degree, whether it's continuing in mathematics, moving to an allied discipline, or something completely different. These are courses that form the basis of the subject. And the third year, there are no core courses. Students just take electives. So Sonal, could we move on to the next slide? Yeah. So maybe I can talk about the supporting courses first. So the supporting courses also happen in the first and second years. There are 2 courses in programming, one which just introduces students to Python, and the second is a numerical methods course. And we also ask students to take 2 supporting courses. This could be in physics, chemistry, biology, philosophy, economics. This is just to get a sense of all the places in which mathematics can be used and how it's used. And based on students' experiences during these supporting courses, they choose an elective stream for their third year. So there are 3 electives taken in the third year. You could take electives in just pure mathematics. For instance, we would offer complex analysis or differential equations or statistics or maybe even geometry. We would offer this pretty much in every year. And in addition, if there are students who are so inclined, we might offer courses in algorithms or machine learning. And otherwise, for those who had a positive experience taking a physics or an economics supporting course, there are also courses offered by these disciplines which can be taken as electives, for instance, game theory or mechanics or nonlinear dynamics or something. So these elective courses also let students start planning their career. So maybe they want to do a master's in mathematics or another field, or maybe they want to start looking for jobs in data or computing. So the elective courses play that role. I also wanted to talk very briefly about honors, and then I'll just end here. So I think Shomen already described what the honors program looks like in biology. Some aspects of it are the same in mathematics, though at the undergraduate level, we don't necessarily expect to build research in mathematics. But students doing the honors take 2 additional electives and do about 6 credits worth of a project. And the project, while it need not be publishable, is something exploratory. So you might take a topic from geometry or algebra or anything else and do a part which involves some computing, or a part which involves making something through arts or crafts, or you might write a survey paper or a historic paper, or you might try and present some result to a lay audience. So there are many options here, but the end result must be something new that is created by the student. So I think that's all I had to say, Sonal. Thanks.
Thanks, Tulsi. Thanks. This was a brief about the mathematics program. This helps. So, yeah, before moving ahead, I think I'll just, so those who have joined late, we have already finished the presentation for the BSc Biology and BSc Mathematics program. We'll now start with the physics presentation. So it's important for you to please listen to them carefully, note down your questions, and post them in the chat box. We will surely take the questions at the end in the Q&A session. So now I would like to invite our faculty, Professor Kripa Gauri Shankar, to talk about our BSc Physics program at Azim Premji University. Over to you, Kripa.
Yeah, thanks, Sapna. I hope you can hear me. So my name is Kripa, and I teach physics at Azim Premji University. I'd just like to briefly introduce our group. So we are a group with very different interests, but we sort of overlap in the general area of physics. We have people who have specialized in optics, astronomy, condensed matter physics, electronics and devices, biophysics, statistical mechanics, nonlinear dynamics, etc. Okay, so the main feature, defining feature of our program is that we wanted to be very hands-on. So we tried to keep a mix of theory, experiments, and writing short programs, all with the final aim of learning some physics as you go along. So we try to encourage our students to spend a lot of time in the lab and just fiddling around with stuff, not necessarily with any aim. And I think that is so evident in the kind of students we've produced. They are not afraid of taking things apart at the end of by the end of their degree. So yeah, so maybe I'll just go ahead and explain to you what our curriculum looks like. As usual, the curricular structure is quite similar to what biology and maths had. So we also have core courses. Once you're done with your core courses, there are electives and supportive courses as well. And the common curriculum is sort of a thread that goes through the entire 3 years of your study. And some of you might want to do an additional honors project, which also I'll talk about. Next slide. So these are the core courses that we have. In the first year, we have two core courses, Introduction to Physics and Mechanics. So Introduction to Physics is a 4-credit course where you will be introduced to the main principles of physics, such as conservation of energy, conservation of momentum, what are the ideas behind these conservation laws. And there's a part B, which is an introduction to doing experiments. So a lot of the experiments in the Introduction to Physics course actually introduces physics through experiments without actually needing any textbook or theory to back it up. So the students do experiments, for example, on Brownian motion, on size of the atom, on spectra, on photoelectric effect, different kinds of things like that. The second course, Mechanics, which is also a 4-credit course, is a standard, very solid mechanics course, which we expect all the students to have a strong foundation in. So I'll just club the rest of the courses into 4-credit and 3-credit courses. So in your list, you see electricity and magnetism, waves and oscillations, thermal physics, and optics. All of these are 4-credit courses because they have a significant laboratory component. And in addition, there are 2 mathematics courses, Mathematical Methods 1 and 2. One includes the basic techniques of mathematics required for physics, which is calculus, vectors, etc. And in Mathematical Methods 2, you'll be introduced to linear algebra and differential equations. Then finally, in the third year, you have one core course, which is Modern Physics. And Modern Physics is basically a course which talks about all of 20th century physics, taking for granted the existence of the atom, what is the structure of matter, a little bit of special relativity, the interaction between matter and radiation, etc. So these are the core courses. I have to say it's not really very different from any other physics curriculum that you would see, but this is part of the deal with physics. It's not changed in 200 years, and it's unlikely, this kind of categorization is unlikely to change. So yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so our 2 supportive courses actually appear quite early. So in the very first semester, we have a course called Computation in Physics. So we have seen that using computer programming can actually make a lot of physics come alive and help students understand exactly what's going on without the need for too much abstract thinking. You can actually put it on a computer and see what happens. So in this course, Computation in Physics, it's an introduction to programming and an introduction to programming in the context of physics. The Atoms and Molecules course is a physicist version of a chemistry course. So in this course, you would look at the structure of atoms and molecules, what are the interactions between them, what are the complicated macro structures that can form as a result of the interactions, etc. Okay, so yeah, so the elective courses are, again, I'll just read out the list and talk about some of them. So in the second year, we have electronics. Most of the electives are taken by students in the third year because it takes up quite a lot of credit space just to build up the foundations. So we also have advanced electronics, which is actually a course in microcontrollers and automation. So basically it involves using an Arduino to interface with sensors and actuators and collect different kinds of data. Advanced mechanics is a course which involves the more mathematical side of mechanics. Soft matter physics is about soft materials such as polymers, gels, emulsions, biological materials, etc. Astronomy, everybody knows what it is. Nonlinear dynamics is a sort of a interdisciplinary mathematics course, which is also highly applicable in physics. Basically, it deals with the study of nonlinear differential equations. It's a very application-oriented course. And finally, we also have quantum mechanics as an elective. So I guess at this stage, I should also say something about the honors program. So our honors program is meant to give you a taste of what it is to do some laboratory work and to do some research. Um, so the kind of research that is possible at the undergraduate stage is stuff that is fun but also new and accessible material at the undergraduate level. So we have students, for example, studying waves and the interaction of fluid waves with particles. We have students studying emulsions and structures of droplets in emulsions. These are things that are sort of slightly new, so it gives you a taste of research, but it's also very accessible at the undergraduate level. You don't need any advanced courses to get into it. So yeah, so that is it about the physics program. I will just, the next slide. Yeah, so I'll just give you a little spiel, sort of ad for why you should choose APU. So we are committed to teaching well. So we are all uniformly interested in the subjects that we specialize in and also the way in which it is taught. To that end, we've actually thought about our curriculum quite extensively. Over the years, we have tried to correct and make it better. The physics and biology programs are extremely hands-on. There is a lot of emphasis on labs and spending a lot of time in the labs. Students spend a lot of hours outside regular class hours in the lab. Sometimes doing what is required in a course and sometimes just doing what they are interested in. There are opportunities for interdisciplinary studies. So we interact a lot with people from different groups, and as a result, we are also quite keen on the students getting an interdisciplinary approach towards anything that they study. So we also have a set of courses called interdisciplinary studies that students can specialize in addition to their majors. Yeah, so we have a weekly science seminar, humanities seminar, economics seminar. You can take your pick. And students organize clubs, which are both, they can be just discussion-based clubs or they can be about some activity. Yeah, this is a very important point. We place a lot of importance on mentoring. So we have basically faculty mentors for every student who not only talks to them about their academic progress, but any other, everything else. So how life is going, that could be part of your conversation. If there is any trouble that you're having in college. So this is a big part of our educational vision. So as was mentioned by Tulsi and Shlomin as well, there are plenty of opportunities for UG research. So undergraduate research is super exciting because it's really nice science, which is not very difficult. And it's possible to do interesting stuff at the undergraduate stage. Yeah, so we also have a lot of emphasis on connecting with society. So we're not studying all these in isolation. Even in the subject-heavy courses that we teach, we always try to make a connection with something outside. that's going on. So all the foundational courses are aimed to give you that kind of broad outlook and aim to make you better informed in general. Okay, so I'll stop here. Oh, okay. So, sorry, Sonal, is this about the interview process? Could you just let me know? Sorry about that.
No, it's just the general competencies required
Okay, okay, okay,
to join the program.
okay, yeah.
Sure.
So the kind of students that we are looking for have the kind of skills and competencies listed out here. So you should be you should be interested in a lot of things, and you can't take anything for granted. You critically analyze stuff. You are not afraid to think, and you are not afraid to sharpen your problem solving skills. So we also would like you to I think this is also part of what we do. This is not something that is necessary for you to have in the beginning. These are the general competencies that we would like to see at the end of the program. So we want every student to be able to clearly communicate what they learn to their peers and to the broader society. Uh, we also want them to give good, coherent arguments and reason out in any situations which require public debate. We also want them to be very well informed. We want them to be able to do independent research on anything that they might be interested in, and that's what is meant by synthesizing material from diverse sources. So if you're interested in something, you go to the internet, go to Google and type it out, but that gives you, you know, a whole bunch of options. So we would like students to have the wisdom to sort of curate those sources and then understand material from these diverse sources. So these are the competencies, general competencies that we would like to build in students. Uh, if if you think that these are required in school and you need them in the interview, don't worry too much about it, because it might be hard for you to understand what it is in the first place. Okay, so is there a next slide? I think, yeah, right. So this is actually very important. So as Tulsi also mentioned, uh, one of going into research and doing a PhD and things like that is only one of the options. So we would like this BSc to open up a host of different options for you. And in order to do that, we try to do this, as the previous slide said, we try to build these general competencies so that you are rooted in some discipline, but you are able to apply uh, these general competencies, your powers of reasoning, ability to communicate, your ability to synthesize from different resources. You're able to use that in any field of interest. So we've had students getting into different kinds of fields. So our students from get into teaching. They join, for example, Teach for India and things like that. A lot of them get into higher education. They're doing their masters and probably will end up doing a PhD. A lot of students get into the social sector, so they join an MA in social work or environmental sciences or development, and they chart their career from there on. And a lot of students are also working. So some students have even joined, for example, startups. A lot of students have work as research interns, paid research interns with different people. And these are all because of the kind of practice of inquiry that we try to develop in students. People say that they are good at doing these kinds of things. So as listed on the right, uh, there are all these other options as well. There's communication and journalism. So science communication is a very important uh, area which you could get into. You could join NGOs, and basically the career choices are, as broad as your imagination. So you need to use this degree and the kind of general competencies we try to inculcate to shape a career. So you try to think about what you want to do and use what you have learned to uh, go after it.
Thanks, Kripa. Thanks for also covering the additional slides that we had
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
as
Sorry
to
about
why
the in
Azim.
between book.
No problem. So as to why Azim Premji University and also the general competencies and finally the academic or career path. Thanks, Kripa. Now I would like to invite Kinnari Pandya, Professor Kinnari Pandya, to talk about our B.Sc.B.Ed program at Azim Premji University. Hi, Kinnari. I'll just move to the next slide. Yeah.
Yes.
Over to
Yeah.
you, Kinnari.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Sonal. So you've heard about the 3-year undergrad degrees that we offer as Bachelor of Science in Biology, in Mathematics, and in Physics. The B.Sc.B.Ed program is a professional degree, which is a 4-year integrated program. Right? So if you have your heart in education, if you've thought that you want to become a teacher and work with children, help children develop concepts through the stages, perhaps this is a program that you may be interested in. Before I go on to the course structure itself, a little bit about the group. It is an integrated program, and therefore the faculty at the B.Sc.B.Ed program who engage with the B.Sc.B.Ed program are physicists, are biologists, are mathematicians, and are interested in education, understand education, and we try to bring um, uh, content, pedagogy, and professional practice. That's what I'll be taking you through in the next couple of slides. So we try at the heart of education, we very centrally believe is the teacher. And for the development of a teacher, some of the core content knowledge, right? Be it mathematics, be it physics, be it biology. There is a lot of emphasis on that. And additionally, how do you therefore teach mathematics? How do you teach sciences? Is something that we help students work with courses as well as professional practice, as we call it, right? So what you see here in the slides is a specialization, and here we indicate the specialization as the regular BSc program that you just heard about, right? The math, physics, and biology programs. So you do the common curriculum that is available to all BSc students. You, in addition, do the core courses and the supportive electives and the electives, the general electives available to all other BSc students. And in addition to that, you do 51 credits of the education related courses. And therefore, this is a dual degree program. It's a 4-year program, not a 3-year program. Right? So, and there are combination of both the content as well as the core disciplinary content as well as education related courses. The semester-long field internship is what we call as the professional practice, is a very integral part of this professional degree. You're basically going to a school site, working with a mentor teacher, a cooperative teacher, and you develop yourself in slowly becoming a teacher and independently handling a class. Apart from that, there are other aspects of the internship itself, the professional practice development itself, understanding the government schooling in India, understanding the systems and processes in India, the schooling system and processes. How do you work as a reflective practitioner? How do you question? How do you dialogue? How do you work in groups, right? So that's something which is laid a lot of emphasis. Within the 51 credits, you have weightage for all of this alongside. Sonal, next slide, please. Yeah. So like I just said, you have the whole lot of specialization that you do. You choose your BSc Math or BSc Physics or BSc Biology. You gain the in-depth understanding through the chosen discipline. You, of course, do the common curriculum, which is available to all BSc students. It's a very integral part of the undergrad program and life of the undergrad program here at the university, where you explore arts, you explore writing, you explore understanding the Indian context. And then from your second year onwards, there is a somewhat of a parallel and an integrated track that you take, where you start doing perspective courses in education, which will help you develop an educational judgment. You then also slowly get introduced to how do you teach physics or math or content areas. And then finally, in your 7th semester, you have this internship, semester-long internship. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the education courses, the 51 credits that is allocated specifically for education, there are a range of courses that you do. There is this whole gamut of courses that will help you understand the questions on why education, what is education, how do we see education, right? Courses on what is the place of education within the school and the larger societal system, language, multilingualism, questions of language, development of language, questions on human development and how teaching and learning therefore happens with individuals. You're working with young children, you're working with individuals. So those are some of the perspective courses that you take. And after that development, you then get into what is curriculum. How do you look at school subject areas? What are say the national curriculum guidelines? What are state curriculum guidelines? How are textbooks looked at? How do you analyze textbooks? How do you look at creative expressions, working with your own body, right? How do you become a teacher? And then get into some of the pedagogy courses, which are building experiments, building demonstrations. If you're doing physics, chemistry, or biology, lab work is very integral. And then how do you take this to young students, right? How do you let children in schools do science, right? So math, how do children learn math? How do you teach maths for children, say at middle school, at high school, young children? How do they pick up maths and how do you work with them, right? I would think that a lot of these are somewhat unique in the way these courses are structured and designed. The opportunity to work with content and apply content into how do you teach, so the pedagogy courses help students build a lot of these skill sets for a teacher. The field practice, the professional practice, as we call it, we hope that students will be able to go to local schools in Bangalore, have a site where they can see how teachers are working, have a sense of the classroom, how is curriculum transacted. We then hope that they will then go and themselves try becoming a teacher with an active school setup for the semester-long internship. We're hoping that they will be able to work, develop their journals and portfolios, reflect on their teaching, work in groups and develop interesting pedagogic skills and ideas to work on different concepts within each of these disciplines. Right? Sonal, next slide, please. Yeah, can we move to the next slide? Yeah, right. Yeah, so it is a 4-year program. It is very integrated with the core discipline that you take. So the BSc and the B.Ed program go really hand in hand for this set of students. And what do you therefore do, right? The 4-year degree. In our country, many of you may know that to become eligible to teach at middle school and high school levels, our teachers require a B.Ed degree. right? For younger children, there are other kinds of requirements, younger age groups, say early childhood education, or even doing becoming a primary school teacher. You may have a diploma, you may have an elementary education degree and things like that, right? But to become a teacher for especially the middle school and high school levels, you need a teaching degree, and this is the B.Ed degree that is a professional degree. So that is something which is we would like that many of our students who take this 4-year integrated program actually become teachers and work in the sector of education as at the core. Research, like all my colleagues have said, there is very critical preparation for inquiry-based learning and developing scientific mindset that goes throughout the degree program. And therefore, research is something that you can certainly take on after the 4-year degree, pursue your master's, pursue your PhD and things like that. Yeah, and like I have been emphasizing, this is a professional teaching. Teaching is a professional endeavor, right? How do you see yourself as a teacher and growing as a professional, right? So a lot of those elements are interwoven into the program, both in the theory courses, the pedagogy courses, and the professional practice that we have the curriculum structured. Yeah, that's it from my end, Sunil. Be happy to take questions. Sonal, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Oh yeah, sorry. Thanks, Kinnari. Yeah, so now I'll just go through the selection slide, and then I think we can come together for a forum question and answer session. Yeah. Yeah, so the selection process, the application form for the regular admissions is available online. Request you to please apply if you have not applied yet. The last date to apply is 9th of April, and the entrance exam is on 25th of April, which comes on Sunday. And we have already spoken about the entrance exam, that it has two parts to it. One is the English and quantitative aptitude, which is a part of the multiple choice questions, and also we have a descriptive question. We have provided the sample question papers on the website, and the selected about the interviews process. The selected candidates will be invited for the interview process. So this is a picture of our campus at Sarjapura, Bangalore. This is our new campus. So we have already shown to you this picture before. Yeah. And these are our contacts where you can contact the admissions team at Azim Premji University. Our mobile number is 8971-889988. Email ID is ugadmissions@apu.edu.in, and you can also connect with us on our social media platforms. Thank you. I think now we can start with the question and answer session. So I would like to, invite all the faculties to the forum. Thank you. So we have a few questions related to yes. So I think this question is already answered by Shamaine. The question says, when should we decide to do BSc honors? Do we need to choose while filling entrance form, or can be decided later? So we can just answer this question also on the live platform. Any of you can answer.
Should I?
Yeah, please, Shamaine.
Okay. Yeah. So No, I mean, right in the beginning, you don't have to decide on your whether you want to do your honors or not. Only in the second year you decide about that. Yeah. So you still have one whole year to kind of think about it, whether you want to do that or not. But one thing I should say is also that there are many students who also participate in some faculty research even in the first year. And that has often helped them also decide whether they want to do honors or not. So those opportunities also exist, and we actually encourage that also.
Thanks, Shomin. So we have one more question for the physics, which says for specialization in astronomy, is there an observatory for various observation and data gathering? So Kripa, if you can just answer
Yeah,
this
so as
question.
I said, we have a telescope, and usually an observatory is specialized to the kind of data you want to gather. So if you are interested in gathering a certain kind of data, then we would encourage you to build up the setup starting from scratch to do that. We do not have an observatory.
Yeah, there's one more question for the bio major. Is there anything related to forensics in the program for BSc biology? I think it's if you can just answer that, show me.
Yeah. So specifically, we don't teach about forensics, but a lot of the other tools and techniques which are used probably in forensic science are these are tools from genetics, molecular biology, and even ecology. For example, entomology. How uh, the kind of fly maggots which you get on a dead body. So these possible examples and tools and techniques are discussed during courses, but not specifically in the context of forensics. Yeah.
We have some generic questions as to how many students get selected for the BSc program for the BSc-B.Ed biology. So I think we have answered those questions in the chat box. I may not take that in the platform. Yeah, is MSc after BSc mathematics is possible? Is the question, Tulasi.
Yeah, so the maths component of both the BSc in maths and the BSc-B.Ed in maths are identical. So with either degree, you're in a position to do a master's in maths. We do, because of the common curriculum, we probably cover a little. Sorry, did someone say something? Oh, no, okay. Yeah, because of the common curriculum, we don't necessarily cover all the content that other universities might. So you would have to choose your electives carefully. For instance, we don't offer differential equations as a core course. If someone is interested in doing a master's in maths, whether they are BSc or BSc-B.Ed, they should take courses of that sort. So if you join our program and you want to do a master's in maths, just be in touch with us right through and keep us updated, and we can advise you on which courses to take.
Thanks, Tulsi. There's a question for me. It says at the time of early admissions, examiners do not allow 45 minutes of for BA descriptive paper at Pune Center as it was given on the admit card. Can you please explain time schedule for the test? Yeah, so for the descriptive questions, you will be assigned 45 minutes for each paper. Say, for example, if you have selected BSc-B.Ed program, BSc-B.Ed biology program, you'll be attempting first paper for the BSc biology for which will be given 45 minutes, and post that you'll be writing the exam for the BSc B.Ed, that is the education paper, for which again you'll be given 45 minutes. So we will look into this. We have already informed all the examiners and the invigilators that this is the schedule of the descriptive paper questions. We'll make sure you get the additional time to write the paper. Yeah, I think we have covered almost all the questions. We do not have any more question. Um, yeah, there's this question for BSc-B.Ed program saying are interdisciplinary courses like media development also available to BSc-B.Ed students?
Um, Yeah, so I'll take this up. The B.Sc.B.Ed students have a set of electives, right, that they can take up, and these may be in economics, maybe in philosophy, maybe in development. The interdisciplinary studies is something that the B.Sc.B.Ed students do not have the scope to do, because the program itself is has a certain several things that they are doing for the education program. But nevertheless, there are so not specifically maybe media, not specifically maybe development. If they are offered as electives, they are available to students within the program. I hope that I answer that question. Um, yeah. Would you want to add anything, Kripa, Tulsi, to this? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Kennedy. I think there's one more question, which is how important is it to know an Indian language, read, write, or speak for the semester-long field internship in the B.Sc.B.Ed course?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. That's a very good question. The semester-long internship is designed in a way that you go to a school that is your own. Uh, the language that you belong to, right? So if you are, we offer internships to students in Hindi speaking areas, in Kannada medium schools, and Tamil in Malayalam, and the idea is that you would be conversant with working with a group of children and in school systems which cater to children from different mediums, right? So if you are conversant with your own language, home language, or Hindi, or the other four South Indian languages, including Telugu, that should be good enough. If spoken English, spoken language, if reading and writing, great. That proficiency is there, great. We do help students develop this further through our pedagogy courses in preparation for the internship. Some of the local school engagements that you may have here within Bangalore is likely to be in English medium schools, so that all of us have access to it, right, in terms of language. So yes, we would hope that you are conversant with your own languages reasonably well enough to be able to work in school sites where the medium of instruction may not be fully English, right? So that's one of the ideas of the program, to prepare teachers to work with such groups, and that's what we hope you will also go back and contribute to, right? So that's the.
Thank you, Kennedy. It's a nice explanation. There's one more question, which is a generic one. So if you can give us some more information on hostel and hostel life other than the studies. Is what is the question. So they want to know more about the hostel life, if any of you can.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Yeah, please,
So,
Kripa.
residential life is pretty packed. Generally, we find that students are not free for anything beyond after class hours. And this is because there's a lot of sports activities and other activities. So, I just talk about sports first. So, there is a CRX, a creative expressions course in running. So, this is actually a unusual thing to find, that you have a course in running. And in addition to that, there are several teams. There's ultimate frisbee, there's football, cricket, and I I don't know. We used to have a half court of basketball, but I'm not very sure what the situation is in the campus. So there's tons of sports. Table tennis. We have a table tennis league, and also a frisbee league amongst the undergraduates. And this is student driven. Um, so this is one part of hostel life. The other part is there's something called community governance. So students basically have formed different fora in which they discuss issues which um, are important to them. So there's a food committee, for example. There's a inclusion and diversity committee. There is a books and reading committee. There's an arts committee, and There's also a sustainability committee. So this is all again student run, and because it covers various aspects of hostel life, these are the kinds of committees that have been formed. Um, what else? Yeah, so there are also clubs. Again, they are student run. So the kinds of clubs we have, uh, discipline specific clubs: maths, physics, biology, economics, and now maybe history, etc. We have philosophy. So these are some kinds of clubs. There's also I think arts and culture club. There's a Dungeons and Dragons gaming thing. Um, there's, obviously there's music. So I mean, a lot of the activities after college hours are very obviously like they're very student driven. So students self organize and form different kinds of clubs and engage in different kinds of activities. The only thing which is heavily encouraged, we gently push, not so gently push people into, is having some sort of physical activity going. So that is something that we try to do as a group. But the rest is just whatever they want to do.
Yeah. Thanks, Kripa.
I'd like Yeah, I was
Yeah, please.
wondering if I could add a couple of things, right? So, as Sonal was just saying, that we've moved to our new campus, the long-awaited campus, right? It's in Sarjapur area, and there are postgraduate students, undergraduate students, post-graduations that we offer in various, domains, development, education. So there is this mix of age group that you will see. Hostel life is about taking charge of your life, right? You're the first time moving out of your homes, and you'll suddenly meet so many students from across the country with very diverse backgrounds. Like Kripa said, that there is so much to do in terms of the clubs, and explore arts and sports and explore yourselves, right? So that's what university life is about, and we do try and make more structured programs, but there is a lot that generally happens, right? So yeah, thanks.
Thanks. Thank you, Kripa. Thanks, Kinnari. Um, there's one question which says, BSc after BSc-B.Ed math program provided by Azim Premji University, can we do MSc from any other university?
I think I responded to that already. Or
Uh, yeah,
no?
MSc. Yeah, so we
Okay.
said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we said that
Yeah. Okay.
MSc
Yeah,
after
you
BSc
have.
mathematics is
You have
possible.
responded to that. Yeah. We can move to
Okay.
the next question.
Anyway, the short answer is yes.
Yes. I think we have covered almost all the questions. Sapna, you can let me know if I have
Yeah,
missed
so
any
you
question.
may want to add that on the residential program be possible this year. So I guess the normal answer is that if things get better, then yes, it will get fully residential. We currently have students on campus
Yes.
who are attending classes, running online classes as well. The hostels are ready, so it really depends on what the situation is like in August. Otherwise, if it gets worse or if it remains the same, we will continue to have online classes.
Yes.
Uh, that is on the residential program. On the hostel facilities, I think we've covered. And yeah, I think the test date we have covered is on the 25th of April. It is a pen and paper test. But we have centers all over India. So you can choose your centers. You can send your center request and change request to us on email. We will try and accommodate as much as possible because we want all of you to write the test. Yeah, that's all I have
Yes.
to say for that time.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Sapna, for adding this. And we have test centers across 20 locations, and we are also getting requests from schools, from Srikakulam and Vijayawada and other locations. So we will be opening a center there as well. If you are like in a group of 10 to 15 students at one school, please let us know. We will open a center at your school for your convenience. Please write to us. Please try and contacting us on our mobile number. We'll make sure we open a center for you to appear for the entrance test on 25th of April. Yes. Okay, I think we are almost done. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Shamain, Tulsi, Kinari, Kripa, and Sapna. Thank you.